What happens after death? This question has fascinated humanity for centuries, crossing cultures, religions, and scientific disciplines. Today, we'll explore what science says, what various beliefs teach, and the most intriguing theories about what might await us beyond our final breath. Let's begin our journey by understanding why this question is so universal and how it shapes our lives, fears, and hopes. Whether you're curious, skeptical, or searching for comfort, this exploration aims to shed light on the unknown and provide a balanced perspective. Before we can discuss what happens after death, it's important to define what death actually means. Medically, death is the irreversible cessation of all biological functions that sustain a living organism. This includes the stopping of the heart, brain activity, and breathing. However, definitions can vary depending on cultural and legal perspectives. Some traditions focus on the soul's departure, while science relies on measurable signs. Understanding these definitions helps us frame the discussion and appreciate the complexity of the topic. At the moment of death, the body undergoes rapid changes. The heart stops beating, blood flow ceases, and the brain shuts down. Within minutes, cells begin to die due to lack of oxygen. This process is known as clinical death, and it's the point at which resuscitation may still be possible. However, if these functions do not return, biological death follows, marking the end of life. This transition is both a medical event and, for many, a deeply spiritual moment. Once death occurs, the body begins a series of physical changes. Rigor mortis sets in, causing the muscles to stiffen, the body cools, a process called algor mortis, and eventually, decomposition begins. These changes are well documented by science and help forensic experts determine the time of death. While these processes are purely biological, they often carry symbolic meaning in different cultures, representing the transition from life to whatever may come next. Many people who have come close to death report vivid experiences, often described as near-death experiences, NDEs. These can include feelings of peace, seeing a bright light, or even out-of-body sensations. While some interpret these as glimpses of an afterlife, science suggests they may be caused by brain activity during extreme stress or lack of oxygen. NDEs remain a fascinating intersection of biology, psychology, and spirituality. One of the biggest mysteries is what happens to consciousness after death. Neuroscience tells us that consciousness is closely tied to brain activity. When the brain stops functioning, our awareness and sense of self are believed to end as well. However, some researchers continue to study whether consciousness could exist independently of the brain, though no scientific evidence currently supports this idea. The question remains open, fueling both scientific inquiry and philosophical debate. From a purely biological standpoint, death is the end of an organism's function. The body returns to the environment through decomposition, recycling nutrients and energy. This cycle is essential for life on Earth, as it sustains ecosystems and new generations. While this view may seem stark, it highlights the interconnectedness of all living things and the ongoing cycle of life and death. Christianity teaches that death is not the end, but a transition to an afterlife. Believers hold that the soul continues on, facing judgment and the possibility of heaven or hell. The resurrection of Jesus is central to Christian hope, promising eternal life to the faithful. These beliefs offer comfort and shape rituals surrounding death, such as funerals and prayers for the departed. In Islam, death marks the beginning of the soul's journey to the afterlife. Muslims believe in resurrection and judgment, where each person's deeds are weighed. The righteous are rewarded with paradise, while others face punishment. Rituals such as prayers and burial customs reflect these beliefs, emphasizing respect for the dead and hope for mercy in the hereafter. Hinduism offers a different perspective, viewing death as part of a continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, known as samsara. The soul, or Atman, is believed to reincarnate based on karma, or the sum of one's actions. Liberation from this cycle, called moksha, is the ultimate goal. These beliefs influence funeral rites and the way Hindus approach life and death. Buddhism also teaches about rebirth, but with a focus on escaping suffering. The cycle of samsara continues until one achieves enlightenment or nirvana, ending the cycle of rebirth. Death is seen as a transition, not a final end. Meditation and mindfulness practices help Buddhists prepare for death and the journey beyond. Many other religions and spiritual traditions have their own views on what happens after death. Some believe in ancestral spirits, others in a journey to another realm, or even merging with the universe. These beliefs often shape cultural practices, rituals, and the way communities support the grieving. The diversity of perspectives highlights humanity's deep need to find meaning in death. Not everyone believes in an afterlife. Many atheists and secular thinkers view death as the end of consciousness and existence. For them, meaning is found in the life we live, the legacy we leave, and the impact we have on others. This perspective encourages living fully and cherishing each moment, knowing that life is finite. Philosophers have long debated the nature of death and what, if anything, comes after. Some argue that death is simply non-existence, while others speculate about the possibility of continued consciousness or alternate realities. These discussions often overlap with questions about the soul, identity, and the meaning of life, offering endless avenues for reflection. The concept of the soul is central to many beliefs about life after death. Some see the soul as an immortal essence, while others view it as a metaphor for consciousness or personality. Science has not found evidence for the soul as a separate entity, but the idea remains powerful in shaping how people understand death and the possibility of something beyond. Reincarnation is the belief that after death, the soul is reborn into a new body. This idea is found in Hinduism, Buddhism, and other traditions. The specifics vary, but the core concept is that actions in one life influence the next. While there's no scientific proof for reincarnation, stories of past life memories continue to intrigue researchers and believers alike. Many religions describe places of reward or punishment after death, commonly known as heaven and hell. These concepts serve to encourage moral behavior and offer hope or warning. Descriptions of these realms vary widely, from physical places to states of being. Whether literal or symbolic, they play a significant role in shaping attitudes toward death and the afterlife. Some people believe in ghosts, spirits, or other paranormal phenomena as evidence of life after death. Reports of hauntings, apparitions, and communication with the dead have been part of human culture for centuries. While science has not confirmed these experiences, they continue to fuel curiosity and debate about what might exist beyond death. Modern science continues to study death and what happens afterward. Research includes near-death experiences, brain activity at the moment of death, and the process of dying. While no evidence has confirmed an afterlife, these studies help us understand the boundaries of life and consciousness and sometimes raise more questions than answers. Even after someone dies, their memory lives on in the minds of loved ones. This legacy can be powerful, shaping families, communities, and even history. Some people find comfort in the idea that as long as we are remembered, a part of us continues. This perspective highlights the importance of relationships and the impact we have on others. Every culture has unique rituals for honoring the dead. These can include funerals, memorials, ancestor worship, or festivals like Mexico's Day of the Dead. Such practices help people process grief, celebrate life, and maintain connections with those who have passed. Rituals also reflect beliefs about what happens after death and the values of each society. Losing someone we love is one of life's most difficult experiences. Grief is a natural response, and healing takes time. Different cultures and individuals have their own ways of coping, from talking with friends to participating in rituals. Understanding death and what might come after can sometimes bring comfort and help people find meaning in loss. Fear of death is common and can shape our choices and beliefs. Some people fear the unknown, while others worry about pain or leaving loved ones behind. Philosophers and psychologists suggest that facing this fear can lead to a deeper appreciation of life. Exploring what happens after death is one way people try to find peace with mortality. The question of what happens after death often leads to a search for meaning in life. People turn to religion, philosophy, science, or personal reflection to find answers. This search can inspire art, literature, and even scientific discovery. Ultimately, the journey to understand death is also a journey to understand ourselves. Some scientists and futurists are exploring ways to extend life or even achieve immortality. Cryonics involves freezing the body after death in hopes that future technology can revive it. While this remains speculative and controversial, it reflects humanity's desire to overcome death and the unknown. With advances in technology, some people are considering the idea of a digital afterlife. This could involve preserving memories, personalities, or even consciousness in computers or online platforms. While still science fiction, these ideas raise new questions about identity, legacy, and what it means to be alive. Science seeks to explain death through observation and evidence. While it can describe the physical processes, it cannot yet answer questions about consciousness or the possibility of an afterlife. This limitation leaves room for belief, speculation, and ongoing research. Science and spirituality often coexist in the search for answers. Personal stories about death and what comes after are powerful and diverse. Some people share experiences of seeing loved ones after they've passed, while others describe peaceful acceptance. These stories can offer comfort, spark curiosity, or challenge our assumptions. Listening to others helps us appreciate the many ways people make sense of death. Beliefs about death influence laws, healthcare, and social norms. For example, ideas about the soul can affect decisions about organ donation or end-of-life care. Societies create rituals, support systems, and even art based on their views of death. Understanding these impacts helps us see how deeply the question of what happens after death shapes our world. Children often have unique ways of understanding death. Their questions can be simple yet profound, and their beliefs are shaped by family, culture, and media. Helping children cope with loss involves honesty, support, and age-appropriate explanations. Their curiosity reminds us that the mystery of death is a lifelong journey. Art has always been a way for people to express their thoughts and feelings about death. From ancient tomb paintings to modern films, artists explore themes of mortality, loss, and the afterlife. Art can comfort, provoke thought, or help us process grief, showing that creativity is a powerful tool for understanding death. Literature is filled with stories about death and what comes after. Writers use fiction, poetry, and memoir to explore the unknown, express grief, or imagine new possibilities. These works help readers confront their fears, find meaning, and connect with others across time and culture. Movies, television, and music often tackle the topic of death. Popular media can shape our expectations, fears, and hopes about what happens after we die. Sometimes these portrayals are comforting, while other times they are frightening or thought-provoking. Media reflects and influences the ongoing conversation about mortality. Grief is not just emotional, it also affects the body and mind. Scientists study how grief impacts health, brain chemistry, and even immune function. Understanding the science of grief can help people find better ways to cope and support each other during difficult times. Death raises many ethical questions, from end-of-life care to organ donation and euthanasia. Different cultures and belief systems offer varying answers. These debates highlight the importance of compassion, respect, and personal choice in facing the end of life. Rituals help people mark the transition from life to death. Whether religious or secular, these ceremonies provide structure, comfort, and a sense of community. They also reflect beliefs about what happens after death and help the living find closure. Despite advances in science, there is no definitive proof of what happens after death. The limits of current technology and understanding mean that some questions remain unanswered. This uncertainty keeps the debate alive and encourages ongoing exploration. Some theories suggest that while the body dies, the energy within us continues in some form. This idea is inspired by the law of conservation of energy in physics, which states that energy cannot be destroyed, only transformed. While this doesn't prove an afterlife, it offers a scientific metaphor for continuity beyond death. Saying goodbye to loved ones is never easy. Final moments can be filled with emotion, reflection, and sometimes peace. Many find comfort in rituals, memories, or simply being present. The way we say goodbye reflects our beliefs about death and a hope for something beyond. Even after death, people can have a lasting influence on the world. Their ideas, actions, and relationships continue to shape others. This legacy can be seen in families, communities, and even history. In this way, a part of us lives on, regardless of what happens to our consciousness. Coming to terms with mortality is a universal challenge. Some find peace through faith, others through acceptance or the pursuit of meaning. Facing death can inspire gratitude, courage, and a deeper connection to life. It's a journey that each person must navigate in their own way. Despite centuries of inquiry, the question of what happens after death remains one of life's greatest mysteries. Science, religion, and philosophy all offer different perspectives, but no single answer. This mystery is part of what makes life precious and motivates us to seek understanding and connection. We've explored scientific, religious, philosophical, and personal views on what happens after death. Each perspective offers unique insights and raises new questions. Whether you find comfort in faith, science, or the legacy you leave, the journey to understand death is deeply personal and ongoing. Living with uncertainty about death can be challenging, but it also opens the door to wonder and growth. Embracing the unknown encourages us to live more fully, cherish our relationships, and seek meaning in everyday moments. In the end, the mystery of death may be what gives life its greatest value. No matter what you believe about what happens after death, the question invites us to reflect on our lives, values, and connections. It reminds us to appreciate the present and to support one another through life's challenges. The journey doesn't end with answers, it continues with curiosity, compassion, and the stories we share.